Let's be honest, fellas, most of us don't think about our prostates until something goes wrong. We think about work relationships, maybe our fitness. But prostate. That just sounds like something your doctor mentions once you're older. Right. Well, that was exactly how John felt. He's 45, a father of 2, runs his own small business, wakes up early, does his morning routine, drinks his coffee like clockwork. But lately, something felt different. He couldn't explain it exactly, maybe a little more pressure when he peed, maybe he just felt off down there. Nothing dramatic, nothing painful, but enough to make him pause at the sink one morning and think, what's going on with my body? And that, right there, was his wake-up call. The prostate, about the size of a walnut, quiet, hidden deep in the body. For years, it barely gets any attention. Yet it plays a massive role in your health, especially as you age. It helps produce the fluid that keeps sperm healthy. It supports urinary function. And it turns out it's a lot more sensitive to daily habits than most men realize. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You might be doing things every day that you assume are harmless, even healthy. But what if some of those very habits, especially the ones involving how often or how rarely you ejaculate, are silently impacting your prostate in ways you've never been told? That's what this video is about. Today, we're diving into 3 unexpected ways that daily masturbation affects the prostate. And I'll tell you this, the third one, it might flip what you thought you knew about men's health completely on its head. This isn't just about sex. It's not about shame. It's not about pushing you in any direction. It's about clarity. It's about understanding what your body needs right now as you enter your 40s, 50s, or 60s. And it's about giving you the tools to make smart, empowered decisions without relying on expensive medications or vague advice. So, whether you're someone who's always been active, or you've avoided even thinking about your intimate health because of guilt religion, or just feeling awkward, I want to invite you to pause. Let's unpack the science. Let's challenge some taboos. And let's talk about what your prostate actually needs to stay healthy. Because if you're like John, and trust me, most men are that quiet signal from your body might be the first sign of something you can still prevent, or reverse. The good news? You're not too late. Not even close. Let's get into it. Let's start with something simple but powerful, the idea of flow. Think of your prostate as a filter system. Every single day it processes fluid, complex fluid, that's part of your semen designed to nourish and protect sperm. That's its job. It's not optional. It happens whether you're aware of it or not. But here's the catch. If you're not releasing that fluid regularly, things start to change, and not in a good way. Imagine a garden hose. Leave it unused for weeks, months, even years, and what happens? Gunk builds up. Water doesn't flow the same way. Pressure gets blocked. Eventually, that once reliable hose becomes useless, or worse, it starts backing up. Now, take that same analogy and apply it to your prostate. This is what doctors call prostate congestion. And it's more common than you think, especially in men who've been told that after a certain age, sexual release just isn't necessary anymore. Let me tell you about 2 real patients I saw in my practice. One was 65. Successful guy, family man, but raised in a culture where self-pleasure was taboo, so he ignored it for years. When he came to me, he was dealing with severe discomfort, pressure, difficulty urinating, even pain when sitting. The cause? A major buildup of fluids in his prostate. It was like a fire hydrant that had never been opened. On the other hand, another patient, 70 years old, had a very different story. He had a self-care routine 3 times a week consistently. No shame, no guilt, just something he'd built into his week like stretching or brushing his teeth. His prostate health. On paper, he looked like a 40-year-old. No pain, no trouble. His PSA levels were low. His vitality. Stronger than many younger men I've treated. Now let's talk hormones, specifically DHT or dihydrotestosterone. If you've never heard of it, here's the deal. DHT is a byproduct of testosterone. It's essential during puberty and early development. But as men get older, too much DHT can become a problem, especially for the prostate. It's been directly linked to prostate enlargement, which affects nearly 50% of men over 50 and almost 90% of men over 80. Here's where ejaculation becomes surprisingly beneficial. Every time you ejaculate, your body triggers a temporary drop in DHT levels. Think of it like giving your prostate a vacation, a break from the hormonal stress that's constantly pressuring it to grow. I treated a pair of brothers in their early 50s, both genetically similar, both relatively healthy. But one had a weekly routine of sexual activity. The other avoided it, felt it was inappropriate, or maybe he was just too tired from work and life. After some tests, the difference was startling. The brother who engaged in regular activity had significantly lower PSA levels, fewer urinary issues, and generally felt more energetic. The other, higher PSA, more frequent bathroom visits at night, and less vitality overall. And here's the final point, and maybe the most overlooked of all. Ejaculation acts like an internal pressure washer. When you climax, your prostate doesn't just push out fluid, it contracts, clearing out old secretions, toxins, and cellular waste. It's a self-cleaning mechanism built right into your body. The result, fresh blood flow, new nutrient-rich fluid, and the ability for the gland to regenerate cell by cell. It's like doing maintenance on a machine. You wouldn't leave your car's oil unchanged for years and expect it to run smoothly, right? Your prostate works the same way. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I'm too old for that. I haven't had the drive in years. Isn't this kind of stuff just for younger guys? Let me be clear that thinking is outdated and dangerous. Prostate health requires regular maintenance, especially after 50. The older you are, the more essential it becomes. This isn't about performance. It's about preservation. It's not about sexuality. It's about survival. Listen, no one teaches us this. No one tells men, hey, regular ejaculation could literally help prevent you from having prostate surgery later in life. It's not in the high school textbooks. And most doctors, too, rush to explain it. But you deserve to know. You deserve to understand your own body, how it works, and what it needs to stay well. So the next time you feel like putting it off, whether because of stress, shame, or just forgetting, remember, your prostate doesn't forget. It keeps score. Quietly, every day. In the next part of this video, we'll break down exactly how often you should ejaculate by age, and how small consistent steps can dramatically improve not just your prostate, but your sleep, your stress levels, and even your confidence. Because real men don't ignore their health. They own it. Let's keep going. Let's be real. When was the last time you scheduled something just for your health? I'm not talking about a doctor's appointment, or a run you might skip. I'm talking about something simple, natural, and surprisingly powerful ejaculation. Yeah, I said it, and I'm saying it because it matters. Not just for your mood, not just for your sex drive, but for the very foundation of your prostate health and ultimately your long-term vitality. This is a question more and more men are starting to ask, especially those in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are noticing changes. Whether it's more frequent bathroom trips, slower flow, or just a feeling that something's off, there's a reason this question keeps coming up. Because frequency matters. But not in the way you might think. Section 1. Why frequency matters more than intensity. Here's the thing, most guys were never told that there's a healthy rhythm to ejaculation. We tend to think it's either whenever I feel like it or not at all. But what science and decades of urology research tell us is that the prostate thrives on consistency, not chaos. Let me say that again, moderate and regular is way better than intense, but rare. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't wait until your mouth feels horrible and then brush 10 times in one day to make up for it. Right. Your body, your prostate, is the same way. It responds to gentle ongoing maintenance, not overload, and then neglect. Section 2. The ideal routine. Tailored by age. Let's break it down. If you're in your 40s, aim for 3 to 4 times per week. Why? Your testosterone is still relatively strong. Your body responds well to consistent hormonal balancing. Think of it as keeping the engine tuned and the oil clean. If you're in your 50s, drop to about 2 to 3 times per week. Here, the key is moderation. You're still in the game, but recovery might take a bit longer. Consistency here is less about libido and more about prevention, keeping the prostate flushed hormones balanced and stress levels down. And if you're in your 60s and beyond, even once a week can do wonders. Just one session mindful, relaxed, and unrushed can be enough to maintain circulation, clear the pipes, and reduce congestion. This isn't about proving anything. It's about preserving everything. Let me share the story of one of my patients. Let's call him Greg. Greg's 65, owns a consulting business, spends most of his day at his desk. When he came to me, he was concerned about his prostate. His PSA levels were creeping up, and he was waking up multiple times a night to pee. We didn't start with pills. We didn't jump into surgery. We started with a simple routine 2 times a week self-care. Mindful, consistent, no pressure. After 3 months, his PSA levels dropped, his sleep improved, his confidence way up. All from something he had previously felt embarrassed to even talk about. Section 3. The Science-Backed Benefits. So, what exactly are the benefits of regular ejaculation in middle and older age? Let's take a look. Improved sleep. Ejaculation releases dopamine and prolactin hormones that relax the body and help induce deeper, more restorative sleep. Lower stress. It reduces cortisol levels, which means less tension, fewer headaches, and better mood control. Stronger pelvic muscles. The act itself contracts key muscles in the pelvic floor, helping to prevent incontinence and support erectile health. Reduced risk of erectile dysfunction. Yes, you heard right. Regular ejaculation helps maintain blood flow and oxygenation to the tissues involved in sexual function. No movement, no circulation, increased risk of decline. It's not about being a teenager again. It's about staying functional, vibrant, and confident as you age. Now, some of you might be wondering, what if I'm single? What if I'm divorced, widowed, or just not in that phase of life? That's completely okay. This is your body, and we're talking about healthcare, not relationship status. Self-pleasure isn't shameful. It's not selfish. In fact, when done mindfully, it's one of the most natural and low-cost forms of preventive medicine there is. So don't let embarrassment keep you from showing up for your own body. Section 4. The Mind-Body Connection. You know what's fascinating. Many men who adopt a regular self-care routine not only feel better physically, they also report feeling calmer, more grounded, and more in control of their emotional health. That's because prostate care isn't just physical. It's deeply mental and emotional too. When you carve out time to care for yourself, you're telling your body, you still matter. I'm listening to you. I'm not ignoring your needs anymore. That's a powerful message, especially in a culture that often tells men to just tough it out and ignore their bodies until something breaks. So, if you've been waiting for the perfect time to take charge of your prostate health, this is it, not next year, not when something goes wrong. Now. Whether you're 42 or 72, you can start today at your pace, your rhythm, your comfort level. This isn't about pressure. It's about power. The power of knowing how your body works and choosing to care for it with respect, consistency, and wisdom. In the next part of this series, we'll dive deeper into how regular ejaculation affects mental clarity, cardiovascular health, and even long-term cancer risk. Stick around because what you'll learn next might just change how you think about aging and yourself. Let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Not hormones, not symptoms, not test results. Let's talk about shame. Yes, that quiet, creeping voice in the back of your head, the one that whispers, "You shouldn't need this. You're too old for this." Real men don't talk about that kind of stuff. Sound familiar? Because if it does, you're not alone. Here's the truth. Millions of men walk through life carrying the silent weight of embarrassment when it comes to their bodies, especially their intimate health. And it's not because they're weak. It's not because they don't care. It's because society taught them not to look there. Think back. How many times were you told, "Don't touch that," or "We don't talk about those things"? How many conversations did you actually have openly, honestly about your prostate, your sexuality, your needs? For most men, 0. And the result? We avoid the doctor. We push off symptoms. We feel uncomfortable even acknowledging the parts of our bodies that are screaming for care. Section 1. Meet Robert, a story of silent struggle. Let me introduce you to someone, Robert. He's 58, divorced, successful in business, financially stable, but emotionally struggling. When Robert first walked into my clinic, he couldn't even say the word masturbation out loud. He looked down, fidgeted with his hands, and said something like, "I know this might sound strange, but I think something's wrong with me down there." He wasn't broken. He wasn't weak. He was just ashamed of taking care of himself in the most natural human way. Years of guilt, religion, culture, masculinity layer after layer of silence had kept him from something so simple, so accessible, and so powerful, regular self-care. We started small, just a conversation, then a routine, then a full approach, body and mind. Fast forward 3 months, Robert's entire presence had shifted. He wasn't just sleeping better, he was walking taller. He wasn't just peeing easier, he was smiling more. His PSA levels improved. But more importantly, his confidence returned, all because he finally gave himself permission to care. Section 2. What's getting in the way of your health? So let me ask you something right now. What's stopping you? Is it embarrassment? Fear of being judged? Worry about what your partner might think? The idea that this is something only young guys care about? Because let me tell you, your body doesn't care what age you are. It only knows one thing, whether you're listening to it or not. Section 3. Creating a space for healing. Here's what I tell every man who's starting this journey. Start with the environment. You don't need fancy tools. You don't need a prescription. You need privacy. You need calm. You need a space that tells your nervous system you're safe. You're allowed to be here. Dim the lights. Take a warm shower. Play music you enjoy. Put your phone on silent. Breathe. And most of all, don't rush. Section 4. The real practice is listening. This isn't about getting off. This is about tuning in to what your body feels, what it needs, and what it's been holding in for far too long. When you listen carefully, your body will start to speak back. It will thank you with deeper sleep, with more peace, with fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom, with better function, better mood, better connection to life. Section 5. Complete care, shoes, self-care. Plus, whole body wellness. Now remember, this isn't a standalone fix. If you truly want long-lasting prostate health, you've got to look at the full picture. Hydration. Your prostate needs clean fluids to function well. Diet. Leafy greens, omega-3s, less sugar, less inflammation. Movement. Even 20 minutes of walking a day supports blood flow and pelvic strength. Stress management. Chronic stress. Tight muscles, plus hormone imbalance, prostate trouble. When you add regular self-care to those foundations, you're not just avoiding illness, you're building resilience. Let me leave you with this. You are not broken. You are not alone. And you are not too late. Taking care of your body, all of it, isn't something to feel guilty about. It's something to feel proud of. Because when you overcome the shame, when you step past the discomfort, you reclaim something powerful, your ownership, your peace, your potential. In the next and final part of this series, we'll walk you through exactly how to build your own personalized prostate health plan, step by step, age by age, habit by habit. So stay with us, because the best version of you starts with a decision you can make today. Let's take a breath. We've talked about the science, we've looked at the stories, We face the stigma. And we've unpacked how something as simple and natural as ejaculation, when done regularly and mindfully, can have a powerful impact on your prostate health. But now it comes down to one thing: what you choose to do next. Section 1. Prostate health doesn't come in a pill bottle. Here's what I need you to know from doctor to friend, from man to man. Real health isn't complicated. It doesn't come in a miracle drug or a late-night ad. It doesn't require $1,000 treatments or embarrassing procedures, not if you start early. Prostate health, like most things in life, is about maintenance. The small things you do, the consistent rhythms, the daily choices, and that maintenance. It's not out of reach. It's already in your hands. What you do today, yes today, can determine how you feel tomorrow, next year, and even 10 years from now. This is what one of my oldest patients, a 70-year-old retired teacher, told me. "Doc, I wish someone had told me this 30 years ago. I could have avoided so much fear, so many doctor visits, so much discomfort. And you know what? He didn't say that with regret. He said it with clarity, because once he did start, even at 70, his body responded. It healed, it moved, it woke up." Section 2. No shame, no delay. Just one step forward. So I want to ask you this genuinely openly. If you've made it this far in the video, what's still holding you back? Fear, doubt, the belief that it's too late. Because I promise you it's not. Not if you start now. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about choosing yourself, showing up for your body, listening to the signals it's been quietly sending you for years, and finally saying, "I hear you. I've got you. Let's begin again." Section 3. Invest in your health. Like you would your future, think about how much time you spend planning your finances, your retirement, your home improvements. Now ask yourself, what's all that worth if your health can't keep up? This is your body. It's your vehicle, your first investment, and it deserves the same energy, intention, and commitment you give everything else in your life. You've worked hard. You've carried stress. You've shown up for everyone else. Now it's your turn. Show up for yourself. Start with a simple routine, 1 session a week. Then build, drink water, eat greens, take walks, sleep well, and yes, release. It's not taboo. It's not dirty. It's a form of self-respect. And it can change everything. Section 4. Your invitation. So here's my invitation to you right now. Drop a comment below. Tell us what part of this journey resonated with you. Hit the like button. It helps more people find this life-changing information. Subscribe to the channel. We've got more videos coming: natural methods, honest talk, and real health strategies that don't require a prescription pad. This is a community. And in this space, there's no shame, only forward momentum. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is today. This is your body, your time, your comeback. Let's begin now.